Hi everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Today I'll be doing my tips for round 20 of the 2023 NRL season. Last week I got 3 out of 5 tips correct. We have 7 matches to get through, so let's start off with the first one, which is kicking off on Friday night. And that match is between Newcastle and West Tigers. This one's being played at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle, and it sees Newcastle in 14th at the moment and West Tigers still bottom of the table in 17th. Newcastle have won 5 of the last 7 matches against West Tigers, and these two sides met earlier in the year where West Tigers really should have won that game, but somehow they didn't. Everything was against Newcastle and Newcastle managed to get the victory. With West Tigers, they played last week against Cronulla and they put up a bit of a fight, but they were beaten quite easily in the end. Newcastle had the bye, and the week before that they beat Canterbury 66-0. For this match, I'm going to go for Newcastle to win by 1 to 12 points. I think West Tigers will give Newcastle a game, but I am expecting Newcastle to win in front of their home fans there on the Friday. I think they'll be a little bit too good for West Tigers, who are still struggling at the bottom of the table. And the first match on Super Saturday is between Canterbury Bankstown and Brisbane. This one's being played at the Belmore Sports Ground. It sees Brisbane in 2nd at the moment and Canterbury Bankstown in 15th. Brisbane have won the last 4 meetings against Canterbury, and the last time that Canterbury beat Brisbane was on the 7th of September 2019. Brisbane going to Belmore is a rarity. The last time that Brisbane played at Belmore Sports Ground was on the 22nd of March 1998, and they beat Canterbury Bankstown 20 points to 12 in front of 10,962 fans. Brisbane coming to this match having been on the bye last week, and I imagine a lot of their players from State of Origin will back up on the Saturday. With Canterbury Bankstown, I watched their match last week against South, and even though they won the match, it was a high-scoring game, and I don't think Cameron Ciraldo will be particularly pleased that they conceded 32 points against pretty much South Sydney's B side. For this match, I'm going to go for Brisbane to win by 1 to 12 points. I think this will be a close game, but I just think that Brisbane have a bit too much class for Canterbury, and they're 2nd on the table for a reason this year. Plus, the fact that Canterbury conceded 32 points against a weakened South Sydney side doesn't give him much confidence, so I'll go for Brisbane to win by 1 to 12 points. The second match on the Super Saturday is between Manly and North Queensland. This match is being played at Brookvale Oval. Manly in 10th at the moment, and North Queensland in 9th place. The head-to-head between these two sides in the last 10 meetings is 5 wins apiece. North Queensland's record at Brookvale Oval is pretty good as well. They've played 14 matches there. They've had 7 wins, the 5 losses and 2 draws. I would imagine that the players that were in the State of Origin game will back up for this match. With Manly, they haven't been travelling that well this year. North Queensland look like they've turned the corner, and obviously they recorded the 3rd biggest win in rugby league history in Australia, beating West Tigers 74-0. Now they've had the bye and they come into this match, they'll be fresh and ready to go. I'm going to go for North Queensland to win this match by 1 to 12 points. I think this is going to be a really good game. There's going to be a lot on the line, but I think North Queensland will win, so NQ to win 1 to 12. And the third match on the Super Saturday is between Sydney Roosters and Melbourne. This one's being played at the Old Lady, the Sydney Cricket Ground. It sees Sydney Roosters in 13th at the moment and Melbourne in 4th. East's record in recent times against Melbourne hasn't been very good. Since the 2018 Grand Final where East emerged victorious, they've only beaten Melbourne 3 times since then. This will be Melbourne's 4th match at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They lost the very first one against East in the preliminary final in 2019, but they won the last 2 times that they went to the venue. There will be players from both sides that would have played in the State of Origin match on the Wednesday. I imagine that those players will back up for this game. This year, East haven't been travelling too well. Melbourne's been playing pretty good. I'm going to have to go for Melbourne to win this. I'll go for Melbourne to win 1 to 12. I think they've been playing better this year and they're sat 4th for a reason. So I'll go Melbourne to win 1 to 12 there at the SCG. The first match on the Sunday is between New Zealand and Cronulla. This one is being played at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. New Zealand are sat 6th on the table at the moment and Cronulla are in 3rd place. These two sides met earlier in the year where New Zealand pulled off an incredible comeback, beating Cronulla 32 points to 30 at Shark Park there, where I think they were down by about 24 points at one stage. But in recent times, Cronulla has had the wood over New Zealand. They've won 11 of the last 14 meetings. This will be Cronulla's first match at Mount Smart Stadium since the 29th of June 2018, where they beat New Zealand 18 points to 15. Their record over in New Zealand is actually quite good. They've played 18 matches there. They've won 9 of them and they've lost 9. So compared to some of the other teams that go over there, they have picked up a few wins in the past. For this match, I'm actually going to go for New Zealand to win by 112 points. I think this will be a big match for both sides. But with Cronulla, it seems that when they come up against the bottom 8 teams, they do very well. But when they come up against a decent side in the top 8, they find it really hard to beat them. So I'm going to go for New Zealand to win by 112 points. Even though last week when they beat Parramatta, they beat a Parramatta side that were missing a lot of key players. But I will back them to beat Cronulla over there in Auckland. And the second match on the Sunday is between Redcliffe and Penrith. This one is being played at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. This will be the first ever meeting between these two sides. Redcliffe in 12th place at the moment, Penrith in first. Both of these teams have players backing up from State of Origin, but I imagine that they will play for their respective sides on the Sunday. Redcliffe started the year really well, but the wheels have kind of fallen off slightly. In the last 8 matches, they've only won 3 of them. And before they beat the Gold Coast, I think they had lost 5 matches in a row. Penrith coming into this game haven't had a bye last week, so the players that aren't playing for State of Origin will be fresh for this game. For this match, I'm going to go for Penrith to win 13+. I think they'll be too good for Redcliffe on the Sunday there. Redcliffe seem to be conceding a lot of points at the moment as well, so I think Penrith will beat them by 13+. And the final match in round 20 is between Parramatta and Gold Coast. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium. Parramatta in 7th at the moment, Gold Coast in 11th. These two sides met earlier in the year at Magic Round, and the Gold Coast won that match 26-24, even though really Parramatta should have won that game, but the Gold Coast held on in the end. When Gold Coast were first founded in 2007 and up until about 2017, they were a real bogey side for Parramatta, but in the last 5 or 6 years, Parramatta has really turned the tide. And before they lost earlier this year, Parramatta had won 7 matches in a row against the Gold Coast. Both of these teams have a lot of players backing up from State of Origin, and I imagine that they will be there. With Parramatta, you could see the difference when the likes of Gutherson, Moses and Co are not there. And as for the Gold Coast as well, they were missing a lot of their big name players when they lost against Redcliffe. I think this will be a really tough match. I think it'll be a high scoring match. But I'm going to go for Parramatta to win. I'm going to go for them to win by 112 points. The Gold Coast score a lot of points, so do Parramatta, so I think this will be a high scoring game. But I'll go for Parramatta to win in the end. And the teams that have a bye this week are St George, South Sydney and Canterbury. So that's been my tips for round 20 of the 2023 NRL season. Hope you enjoyed these tips. If you did, let me know in the comment section below and let me know who you're tipping in round 20. Anyways, this has been Rugby League History and I'll catch us all later in the next video. Alright, tatty bye for now.